How'd you guys do teaching yourself? Did you learn something? Excuse me. All right, yeah, so even in that video, I don't know if you guys, I could replay that whole video, but I don't really want to. But they were like, we went to Mongolia, we want to reach the young people, so we shared the gospel with them, and then we discipled them. And they probably got them hooked up in the local churches too, but they didn't mention that. I don't know if you heard that. They were talking about those two things. We shared the gospel with them, and then we're discipling them using these groups and these friendship groups and whatnot. So yeah, evangelism, that's the first part. That's sharing the gospel. You guys remember that? Evangelism, just sharing the gospel. You can do it in 30 seconds. I mean, if you're, pretty quick about it. Sharing the gospel. If somebody gets saved, what's the next step? What do they need to have done for them? Take them to church, right? Drop them off. Sit with them maybe. Now, what should you do? What's step number 2? Yeah, you disciple them, and that means you have to do what? You spend time with them. Yeah, that's actually the fun part. It's actually easier, I think, to disciple somebody than evangelism. It depends what your gifts are and your personality, but hanging out with people is cool. It's fun. I love doing it, especially people I care about. And if one of my friends got saved, I would be like, this is great. We're gonna spend a lot of time together, which we like doing because we're friends anyways. So yeah, evangelism, big scary word, maybe hopefully not so scary anymore. Sharing the gospel. Discipleship is one person coming alongside or two. Paul used a friend, so you can do it with a friend. And you disciple 1, 2, 3, 12, 30, 100 people. I don't know if you can do it for 100. But, you spend time with them, and you're teaching them what it is to follow Jesus. You teach them his commands for living life, the practical stuff they need to know. And then you get them connected into what? A church family, yes. And you don't have to wait till you're done with this. You can do this. You can do these two together. But, yeah, a lot of times the problem is we get them saved, and we just dump them into a church. Especially you guys probably didn't have somebody share the gospel with you and get saved. Because you guys aren't first-generation Christians. A lot of you guys, I know your parents are Christians. So that's a problem with second-generation Christians. You guys forget about discipleship because you got saved. You knew, it's like you grew up knowing all this stuff already. So you didn't really need somebody to come alongside you and teach. So then when you share with your friends and they get saved, you don't even know how to disciple them because nobody had to do it for you because you had your family doing it for you. So unfortunately, second-generation Christians sometimes are kind of dense and they miss discipleship. But that's why I'm teaching you guys so you can learn. When somebody gets saved, normally this is what they need. They need an older person. And your friends, when they get saved, don't skip this step and take them to church. Okay, disciple them. So that was our Discipleship Revival series. From November, we're going to do that every November, focus on discipleship. If you didn't get one of these little sheets that I gave out last time, hopefully you did get it and you've prayed that prayer and you're listening to God for what the next step is for you, because God wants you involved in discipleship for your entire life in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't mean it's 365 every single day of every single year of your life. There might be a year that you take off or God doesn't bring you somebody or it's a busy season or something's going on, and then there's another year, 3 years where you're involved or whatever. But discipleship is on Jesus' heart. It's literally the basic ingredient of being a Christian is discipling people. I mean, being a Christian is about being like who? Okay, it should not take that long for that question, guys. Yeah, being a Christian is about being like who? And what did Jesus literally do most of his life? The thing that he did more than any other thing with all of his days was discipling people. Yeah, those 12 people. He did go to church with them once a week. He did that. Jesus went to church. I'm not saying stop going to church. But I'm just saying, being a Christian, we've lost discipleship, and I'm trying to bring it back to you guys, Generation 80, so you guys can all understand it and, more importantly, be involved. So if you didn't get one of these or you lost yours, I'm sticking in with the pens when it comes around. Grab one again, pray that prayer, and really seek God. If you've got a journal, ask him to show you, what's the next step you want from me, God? Do you want me to be a disciple? I have somebody older in my church. Maybe I don't really totally need it because I had a Christian family, but I'm not ready to disciple somebody else. So if somebody would just show me for maybe a year or something, then I'd be ready. If you need that, pray. Seek God. What's the next step for me? And then send it back to me. And however long it takes a month of listening, 2 months, a year. So no hurry on that. So, let's see. Now we got to get back into Acts because you guys have probably forgot about this whole book. So I'm going to review a little bit what we covered the last time, not the whole book, but just the last episode. And then we'll dive into what we got tonight. So the last episode, where did I stick my sheet? Oh, down here. In Dr. Luke's story was, how many of you guys remember the episode with the terrorist? Remember the terrorist? No, you don't remember the terrorist. How many of you guys remember Stephen? Good man Stephen. Okay, what happened to Stephen? He got stoned. Who was who was the head of the lynch mob? Saul. So Saul was the terrorist, right? So now who remembers the terrorist? Okay, hopefully you remember the terrorist. Half-breeds, remember what happened with the half-breeds? You guys remember who the half-breeds were? The Samaritans. Yeah, remember they were those half-breeds, the ones that the good Jews stayed away from, right? Well, Philip had the nerve to go and share the gospel with a bunch of half-breeds, right? And what happened to those half-breeds? They had the nerve to get saved. So now you got two different races in the Christian faith. I mean, forget it being a single culture religion. Now you got the half-breeds and the full-blooded Jews. And then, if that wasn't enough, when God saw that he could use Philip, and Philip wasn't scared to share the gospel with people that looked a little different than him, what did God use Philip to do? If God's like, hey, if you're okay sharing it with people that look a little different than you, that's awesome, Philip. I got a job for you. And he took him and he shared the gospel with the first black Christian, who was from what country in Africa? Ethiopia, yep. And so we're in generation 1. Guess how many Anglo Christians there were at this time in Christian history? How many Anglo Christians? 0. My ancestors wouldn't get the gospel for another 500 years. Nobody would take it up north to the white-skinned people. In history, they write how they looked like angels, and they were white and bright, and their skin was so white, but nobody took the gospel to them. It's 500 years. There was Christian churches in Africa for 500 years before the first Anglos got the gospel, okay? We were like one of the last ones, so... but eventually somebody took it to my ancestors. I'm grateful for that. But all right, if you got your map, break it open, because we've got some Christians to put on the map, because Christianity has spread a little bit since last time we busted out this map. I think the map is page 3. And you need the expansion map. Yeah, so go to the expansion map. Ooh, this is not the expansion map. The expansion map, remember, is that light-colored one. And what you got to do is you got to find Samaria on that map. And some of you guys, the pens maybe didn't get around because you guys are rusty and didn't grab your pen. So you might have to do this when I'm gone. So just remember what I'm about to say if you don't have your pens. You got to find Samaria, and what's the number you should put on Samaria? No, not 0. Philip shared the gospel. How many of them got saved? A lot. I'm going to say 5,000. I don't remember if the text said that, but write 5,000 around Samaria. Or you could just put a whole lot. So once you find Samaria, I think it's on your map. Ooh, it might not be on your map. Oh, well, it's the region just north and east of Jerusalem. They're still in Israel. They're just like on the east part. Where like the West Bank is today, if you guys do history. Those are the half-breeds. So sometimes Jews, when they wanted to go up north, like Jesus, when he'd go to his hometown, he would walk around Samaria. It was took a detour, took an extra day, just so he wouldn't have to go through the half-breeds' territory. All right, so put 5,000 in Samaria, and then what can you do in Africa? What can you put in Africa? 1. That's right. There's 1 Christian down there, but put him on there. Come on, that counts. All right, put him in Ethiopia. I don't think Ethiopia's on there, but you can put a little arrow like what you got. All right, then the last thing I want to do is just draw your attention to the city that's going to be mentioned in today's story. All right, so you got to look for the city of Damascus. First of all, find the province of Syria. Ooh, is Syria even up there? No, Syria is not listed. That's all right, but do you see Damascus? Syria's on there? Okay, well, the capital of Syria at that time was Damascus. I see Damascus. You guys see Damascus? That's the most important one. Damascus was like the capital, all right? So it was about 150 miles from Jerusalem. So now, guys, remember, when Stephen died, what happened to all those Christians in Jerusalem? They was like, we gone, and they left Jerusalem. And guess where a bunch of them went? Damascus, because it was kind of outside of the province. It was 150 miles away, so that's like a 6 days walk, okay? It's like if the baddies are going to chase us, they ain't going to chase us this far, right? So Damascus became a refugee city for Christians, okay? If you were a Christian and you were trying to get someplace safe, you went to what city? Damascus. So remember the city of Damascus, the safe town for Christians. All right, 2 other cities I just want you to see, but you don't have to remember too much about. Caesarea. See if you can find Caesarea. It's to the left of Damascus and down a little farther. That's going to be mentioned. And then one final city way up north. I'm not even going to tell you where it is, but good luck finding it. Way up north, the terrorist homeland, Tarsus, a little city up north, Tarsus. All right, So without further ado, I'm out of here. Tonight's story, this is a good one, guys. You're going to enjoy this. So sit back and relax. Tonight's story is called The Terrorist Meets the Lion. I'll be right back.